What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Quarters Podcast. We got a special episode this week. We got the draft tomorrow, so we're going live out there on social media here on YouTube and on Twitter and some thing called Twitch. I don't know what the hell that is. And then we are also on the pod, so appreciate you guys listening over there. But we're going to be diving into a fun round one mock, see where everybody's at here. It's bound to get crazy as it does because Christian values guys all across the board here. So we're going to go through each pick. We're going to talk about it. If you are watching live, drop in the comments. We haven't gone live ever, I don't think we've ever done a live one here on this show. So shit's about to get wild. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the players as we go through after the intro. All right, so we're going to go through pick by pick, kind of talk about a little analysis, but I don't know. We'll see how that goes as we get through it. I had the first pick. I'm going to take number 1 for the Titans here. This is pretty locked in. We did not talk about this pre-show, so I'm going to just ask the question we're doing what we think is going to happen, right? Or are we doing what we do?
Predictive.
Right. Predictive. Yeah, sure. That's the word. I was looking for that word. So we're doing predictive here, like what we think is going to happen here at the draft of what we'll go. So that's easy for me because, it's pretty locked in at this point for the Titans here. I was going to take Cam Ward. I don't know if we need to really talk about it too much here. No one's really going to move up. Feels like that pick's locked in. I think this is where we were talking about it, though. This is where it's going to get fun because the Browns are on the clock. And at 2, and we have Christian. He's going to take the Browns here. He was excited about this pick. And he's going to tell us kind of what he thinks the Browns are going to do. We see Hunter out there is locked in. That's what a lot of people have talked about. But there are still some noise. Maybe someone moves up in this spot. Maybe the Cowboys for Hunter. Where are you at with 2, Christian?
This one's tough. There's a lot of smoke right now, and I think it could be the Browns trying to get some massive haul for Travis Hunter. The Browns aren't in a position where they can just take one player and be competitive. That's my general thinking. I think they need offensive line help. I think they need a quarterback. I think they need a running back. I think they need a ton of things. However, I'm not comfortable trading out of the Travis Hunter pick at this point, just with where everything has been looking over the last few weeks. And kind of when you look across industry mock drafts, this seems to be as locked in as the Cam Ward pick or close to it. So I'm going to stick and pick here, and I'm going to take Travis Hunter. I've had many a debate about this with Browns fans over the last few weeks. I still don't think that's the right pick. I do think he's an elite talent. I don't think that's how you build the team, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes for the Browns. Unfortunately, once you go to the Browns, your career is probably not going to go very well. So we'll see how Travis Hunter handles that. But got to stick and pick here.
As a corner, it's been okay so far.
That's true. Denzel Ward top 5 too. The last time they took a corner top 5, he's been a Pro Bowl player. So,
all right, Giants. If any of you guys actually are trying to move up, I would probably take one of those Godfather offers. Otherwise, it's just you have to take Abdul Carter. Personally,
who has the Bears?
I have the Bears, but I don't throw a Godfather offer out there for Ashton Jeanty as a top 3 pick and a running back. I just don't. I can't get up they were talking about a first, right? For sure, next year's first.
Some of the talk has been a second, but I don't think a second gets you all the way to the 3rd pick. So
why?
Probably it would have to be 10, 39, and maybe like a next year second. I just don't know.
That's a lot.
Carter, it's a lot. It is. And the benefit the Bears have is they can move up and down, but with those first 3 picks, they can also completely elevate this roster to the next level. So it's a hit or miss thing. I don't think Godfather offer's coming, so you just take Abdul Carter and make your strength your strength. Last time the Giants were actually relevant, they had the best pass rush in football and had a rotational pass rush, and guys kicked down. That's what they'd have to do here.
That's fair. I also think they could trade Kayvon. And we've been talking about that on this show for a little while, where maybe Kayvon gets moved and maybe they just feel comfortable with their depth with Abdul slotting in there. So
yeah, I just the one thing I was gonna say about Abdul or the Giants, if the Giants move down to 10, they'd have to get a first back in my opinion, because if you're looking at it like with Abdul Carter, if I'm gonna take Abdul Carter if I think he's a top 3 player in the class. If I'm going down to 10, you got to give me a first next year. Like you have to. Like there's no way I'm passing on that. If maybe Abdul is off the board and Hunter's sitting there, maybe you have a different discussion depending on what your positional need is. But that edge, I think, really still matters. And I think the way the Eagles have built out their roster, I think teams, they got to be smart at some point, right? And look at what the Eagles did and say, hey, look at what the Eagles, how they've kind of built out that team. Like that's got to give the positional bump for the defensive line. And I don't know. Abdul's going to look great though when they have a new coach next year, a new GM and everything. Like, that's going to be a great centerpiece block for the Giants next year. It's going to be a lot of fun there. All right, we're at 4. Oh, I have this pick, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I pick first? I should have picked. I should not.
You wanted the easy pick.
Oh no, there's no easy picks after the top 2, buddy. I hate to break it to you. It doesn't feel like
the easiest one.
You did. I will say chalk here's Will Campbell for what it's worth. So
yeah, I mean chalk's Will Campbell. I saw Mimbu go here a few times. I struggle with the right tackle thing and the left tackle. And I know Campbell, a lot of people talking to him as a guard there. Does anybody want to move up here?
I think you'd be trading with yourself, maybe.
Yeah.
The Bears going up to go above the rumors.
This is tough. It's so funny that the Patriots won that last game. And ruin their draft here, because outside this top 3 is really not where you want to be. If I'm going to say chalk, I still think Will Campbell's a very good player. And I think that he would fit and he'd be fine for them. So I'm going to take Campbell, and it's not a great pick, feeling pick here, but it's a need for them. And I think that he could fill in and he can definitely play there. And whether he plays tackle, guard, wherever he does, I still think you're talking about asset on that offensive line, and definitely can be that guy for the next 10 years. So I'm just going to go chalk, take Will Campbell. And God, the Patriots been on a wild ride this offseason, all the way from they're going to get Tet. Now they're going tackle. Like it's all across the board. T. Higgins was supposed to be coming, and now it's just they're looking at that depth chart. It's tough.
Ashton Jeanty would be a good pick for them, by the way. That we haven't seen that mocked, but I know they paid Ramondre, but they need a better running back. I like the chalk here. Okay, Kevin, do you want to come up with the Bears to get Jeanty? Because if not, I'm taking him because that's where the wind is blowing towards Jacksonville taking Jeanty.
No, you go ahead and take your running back in the top 5. You go ahead and have that pick.
Yeah, for what it's worth,
ridiculous.
I think the Jaguars are Jeanty's my top player. Let me say that first. He's the number 1 player on my big board. I think Jacksonville taking him top 5 is kind of malpractice, but it's a new regime and they want to build through character guys and a different identity. And I think Jeanty does bring that to the table. It's just strange. I'm not an ETN fan either. So but I am a Tank Bigsby fan. I think they've got a decent stable of running backs there. I'm going to take Jeanty though, because that's what everyone else is doing. And I mean,
and you're a follower. Yeah.
Yeah. Go read my
hot take of us. Only going rumor mill today.
I will say there is some buzz about Tedero McMillan there at 5'2", and I think that would be interesting, but also I think day 2 wide receiver makes more sense. So
the good argument I heard, I think it was on the McShay podcast or something, when they looked at, or I don't know where it was, but they were talking about Lawrence, and when he succeeded with big wide receivers like T. Higgins and oh gosh, who's the guy?
Ross.
Justin Ross. Remember him? He was going to be a wide receiver 1 after he had neck infusion. So when he was in college, though, they absolutely loved him. And so I've seen that with Tet there. I wouldn't shock me to see them take Tet. That would not shock me at all either. I think Cohen wants to kind of have his, what is this team going to look like, and have emphasis. So I could see him definitely taking this.
Yeah, he's coming from his offense was very run heavy with 2 backs, and you had 2 elite receivers until injuries happened and everything. But everyone, Ted McMillan does at least physically resemble Mike Evans, at least a good amount, and him and Brian Thomas together would work. But Ashton Jeanty and likely Travis Etienne being traded away because Jeanty and Bigsby is still really good. Unfortunately for the Raiders, that takes away their only good pick. I don't think they would take Tet this high, unfortunately. And for me, they just have so many holes that I think you invested heavily in the offensive line last year, and DJ Glaze started most games and played relatively well. I think there's enough flashes there to give him the full chance. But like, what does that leave you? In my opinion, that would leave you Mason Graham or probably Jahdae Barron for what you're doing here. I'll take Mason Graham instead, I guess.
To introduce, like, what about Jalen Walker? Because there's been a little bit of buzz there too.
I guess we don't really have the full story of how this team views Wilson yet. I mean, he's starting to get it, and he really lost a whole first year to try it. So that's where it's kind of like a weird thing where the edges probably don't deserve to be here. And that's why Tet shouldn't go here, because I think he should drop down slightly. I don't think Malachi Starks deserves to go here. I don't think Mambu is the right pick. I mean, the biggest hole in the team was corner, but Jahdae Barron, inside, outside. Screw it, Jahdae Barron. Roll it. I'm done.
All right. Over Mason Graham?
Yeah, I think only because of Christian Wilkins. They're very similar in what they would do.
That's the comp, right? Like,
I know, and you can't tell me that Pete Carroll wouldn't love Jahdae Barron. Like, that's what I've been struggling with the most. If Genty's gone, I personally don't think they should overly invest in the offensive line when you're still trying to get your star left tackle signed. Like, as of right now, the line's relatively set. You could take an upside shot later. Jahdae Barron at least is going to fill one of your like 3 holes in the secondary.
All right.
Let's take Jahdae.
Let's give Kevin credit. If that happens, Kevin did that like a month ago.
I did
on one of our mocks, and that was not even close to an option, even. But it has been floated. There's some buzz there too. So.
I think it could happen. I think the Raiders are like, I don't know, man. I think they're just they're a wild card. Like, they could really go any way. It is crazy how far we've seen Will Johnson fall, though, a little bit.
Multiple injuries, multiple, and it's just not. It's just
Sounds
not
like
going perfect.
The main concern is the injuries, but we'll see where he goes in this one.
Yeah, no, I think so too. All right, let's go. I'm at the Jets. Whew, this makes it harder for me because I really want to take Mason Graham here for the Jets. And I think it's either him. I know they've talked about tight end a lot, but I just don't see them take. I don't know. I like Tyler Warren, but there's some good depth pieces at tight end in this position, and a new regime coming in. They're going to take a top 10 tight end. We've seen this not happen before. Like, we saw it with Pitts. We've seen that happen. I feel like it's either him or Mimbu, and Mimbu just plays slots in at right tackle, and they just say, hey, that's where you're going to play there. But I'm going to go best player on the board. Glenn is an absolute psycho, and I think he would love Mason Graham to be on his defense, and that could just be his platoon guy that he kind of builds around. So I'm going to take the Jets. I'm going to take Mason Graham.
Yeah, you somehow lucked into the 3 most chalkiest picks possible for a team. And then we did, I think we got kind of the trends going there of 3 new coaches taking their guys on their side of the ball and planting their flags in it. So I do like that. I do think that's normally how most new coaches operate as well, unless there's some obvious glaring need mixed with value. But there's so much mixed bags with this class that I think this is kind of how it's about to happen.
Yeah, good pick. Honestly, it sounds like the Jets are leaning defense at this point. I don't know. Jets are a wild card too, and they're kind of all over the board. So
I saw Barron. I saw some other guys that get mocked there.
Yeah. I have the Panthers. I'm just gonna go chalk here, and I'm gonna take Jalen Walker. This one. It sounds like everyone loves him. I wouldn't be shocked if he's not on the board for the Panthers at 8, but here he is. I think they desperately need an edge rusher. I don't think they can go in any other direction. Now, whether it's Jalen Walker or Mykel Williams, it sounds like those two are the two. And I think if Jalen Walker's gone, they'll gladly take Mykel on their team. But Walker has a lot of fans in the league, so I think he's pretty locked in to be a top 10 pick. And the Panthers need like 7 Jalen Walkers because their edge rushing room is trash right now.
Fair enough. And I mean, he slots into stuff that they have succeeded with. and have lost, and like Luvu and other linebackers, or more, slimmer edge rushers. So it fills the needs of multiple spots, and hopefully it works out. Unfortunately, the Saints here have a lot of needs and no money, in a really awkward position, because obviously, I mean, anyone that's listened to it, me and Christian obviously love Walter Nolan. It seems like a lot of the community is a lot lower on that. I don't think they'd like Mike Green. I don't want to just take the toolsy edge rusher is the issue.
That's what they would do, though. That's what
I know. That's why I don't want to.
They could go offensive tackle. I mean, Kelvin Banks,
yeah, I don't. They could do it. I don't think that's wrong by any means.
Tet makes some sense here.
No, I'll go Michael Williams.
He said, "I don't want to do it," and then he did it.
Yep, I did. Apparently scroll forever.
Yeah, what the hell? Oh, there you go.
38?
Yeah, he's at 38 on PFS. Big boy there.
Trevor.
It fits, though. It does. I mean, again, your best player on defense at this point is definitely on his last leg. He's very young. He can learn a lot from Cam Jordan, and hopefully you can get just another toolsy edge rusher, a big guy to set the other side, and you can win some reps that way while your secondary still in shambles.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay. Am I up? I'm up on
you are.
Bears. All right, the Bears. So, all right, the resident Bill fan who became a Bill fan in the last couple of years is Christian here. So, are you buying the buzz with Tyler Warren?
Yeah. I think I'm buying the buzz of offensive weapon. There's a little bit of buzz about an offensive tackle, and I think maybe if they trade back here, but I think it's an offensive weapon. Whether it's Genty or Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland, I think it could be one of those three. It makes sense.
So I was leading Mimbu or Warren here, and it's predictive. I do think they could go offensive line. I just don't know if they will. I think that they're probably looking at it like we're okay. Can you have enough depth at the offensive line? Can you have enough dudes up there?
No, it's but this way, the only way they have to have someone they think would automatically, it's an automatic competition for left tackle. That's the only pick you can make here. And I don't know if that's Membu.
Well, who's playing right tackle for them right now?
Darnell Wright. The guy they just drafted
a couple of years ago. But he's been bad.
Is he good? He hasn't been good.
He hasn't been good necessarily, maybe not up to standards, but he's definitely not going to be better switching him to left.
No.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's almost you have to go Kelvin Banks or Tyler Warren.
So. Yeah. And you don't want to take Kelvin Banks top 10, in my opinion.
Or D-line.
You could go D-line. You could go edge, D-line. I mean, they're luxury. Jesus Christ, what am I talking about right now? They are a luxury picks out there for them because they have a lot of their needs met, especially in the free agency stuff. I'm going to go chalk and just take Tyler Warren, although I do think that they could go a lot of different ways here. So I just think them having those two picks in the second round helped them. Because they could just say, hey, we can get some depth maybe at the offensive line position. Maybe they look at their edge and say, hey, these edges are going to fall a little bit. We like where the edges are in that second round. And then if they look at their board and say, hey, Tyler Warren is that best piece, we can add him to this offense. And I do think offensive weapon is where they go because of who their head coach is, right? And what Ben Johnson's trying to do there. So I'll take Tyler. But I think the Bears are an interesting spot. There's a lot of pivots in this draft. When you're looking at the board, if Ashton goes off there, I think the Raiders are a pivot. Where the hell are they going to go? And in the Jets, I think that could really make a difference here. We haven't seen a draft like this in a long time where a lot of things can get pivoted and moved there. All right, Niners. Christian, where are you going with the Niners?
Dude, I don't know. I hate this. I don't hate this. I do think offensive line makes sense, and there's been a lot of buzz and direction for that, and Membu is the perfect offensive lineman for their scheme. There's been some Gray Zabel hype. This feels a little early for a guard. I think they desperately need an edge rusher, but I don't know if they would take Shamar Stewart. I think they would probably target Michael, and if he's off the board, they don't have an option to take him. Walter Nolan makes sense, but no one really knows what's going on with Walter Nolan. I've seen him mock top 10. I've seen him out of first rounds. So I'm just going to go. Armin Membu. And I think they might consider him best player available here, because I think what we're going to find is every team after like 5 will say that they took their best player available, and they might not even be lying, because even Rappaport even said, like, we've never had a draft where like there are 50 players that could go in the top 12 and no one would blink an eye. But that's pretty much this year. This is the hardest year since last year to predict. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a Michael Penix level shock here in the top 10, but we've seen crazy things happen. But Membu, he's a perfect fit for the 49ers. They desperately need offensive linemen, so let's roll with it.
All right.
Fair.
Cowboys, Randy.
Don't mess it up.
Right. Well, Gentry's gone, so the whole
If you
draft
take
is
Tyler
ruined.
Booker, I'm going to kill you. Like that.
Tyler Booker,
that would
perfect. Super athletic guard, but they're a weird team here. I mean, obviously you could go offensive line, you could go edge rusher, but I mean, with Tet falling, I think it's the clearest like pairing that works best. A lot of the other receivers that they could take later are going to kind of mix a little bit too closely to what CD does, where Tet really won't. So I think that's the smartest move for them. They get the offensive weapon. They've signed 2 veteran running backs. They probably aren't going to take one till a lot later now. You take this and maybe a lineman. I mean, if you use 3 of your picks on offense this draft, then you get another offensive lineman, a running back, and then you nail Ted McMillan here, who worst case is going to be a really good wide receiver too, which is fine because you have one of the best wide receiver ones.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Ted's the pick.
Yeah.
All right.
I need to type out where I'm picking, so that I can.
Math, huh?
Well, no. I'm hyper focused on making the right picks here, dude.
Then what's happened? I mean,
listen.
This on the block, by the way. The Dolphins pick at 13. If someone would like to move up, I would really appreciate you guys moving up here and helping me make some decisions.
All right. Let me come up with Denver.
Okay.
Is Denver you?
Yeah, that's why I had to see it on paper. I wrote it down. Is Denver interested in this via PFF trade nonsense?
Nonsense.
Of course not.
No, but we can go down to them.
We'll force it. Okay. Trade value chart. Let's see. I will give you 20 and 85 and a future 4th. Does that get it done? Randy, what do you think? It's a top 100 pick. 7 spots. The trade value chart says I need to give 300. Ooh, that might not get it done. All right, I'll give you future 3rd.
Yeah,
that was gonna be my thing. I
already clicked it.
Yeah, you were either gonna have to, if you're doing the 4th, you're gonna have to probably do like
a 190,
like 122 for 155. You know, like you're gonna have to do like a really almost a full round pick swap to accommodate. So
we can do this.
Do 2/3. So,
2/3 first, move back, force this trade. Screw your PFF. All right, Broncos are on the clock. So where are you going with that?
It's gotta be a quarterback.
I'm gonna. So people will be like, "Why would you trade up for this person?" I think I published my final mock. I put three running backs in there. I think people are going to move up for the running backs. I'm coming up. I am taking Travion Henderson here at 13 overall. And you might say,
"Oh, let me scroll down here a little bit
that's
him.
ridiculous." You might
Dylan
say,
Sampson is rated higher than and Cam Scatabo is rated higher.
Not by normal people.
Let's just not talk about it.
That's pretty bad.
It's pretty crazy. But
right.
So I gave Travion to Denver in my final mock as well. I do think that there will be some movement for either Travion or Omarion Hampton or both. There's a chance. I think there's a chance we see 3 running backs in the first round. Randy thinks I'm a psychopath, but you know what? It was my pick. So
no, you're fine. It's just like if that happens where they trade to 13 with how the board falls, we're just in the Discord going to be talking for the full 5 minutes of, all right, well, sucks for the Colts. They can't get close to Loveland now. And it's a running back. It's not the one we thought. Not that, I mean, Henderson's my RB2, so I think it's fine, but it's just funny.
Yeah. It's we're getting a little wacky. We're starting wacky in the top 15. So,
all right, Randy, you're up. Colts.
I don't think I am.
Wait.
No, because you were up, so I'm up.
Oh, my fault. Christian's up. My bad.
Yeah. Colson Loveland. Easy. I think if
it was all a ploy, he just didn't want to screw himself.
I don't think the Broncos are going to be interested in Colson Loveland after signing Evan Ingram. I don't
either. But it has been a lot of talk this week of them still wanting that tight end and reshaping the offense by it.
But see,
I don't know, man.
Go for a day 2 tight end in that frame, and you can develop him behind Evan Ingram, and that makes more sense to me. But here the Colts get Colson Loveland. It's been, there's been a lot of just explicit talk of Ballard not wanting to go into next season with this tight end room, and they didn't really do much to fix it. So I think they have to go tight end early, and everything is pointing to if Loveland or Warren is on the board here, that is the pick. So I'm rolling with it.
Is that what you're doing? No, I mean, it makes sense. I was already just concerned about my next pick, if I'm going to be honest, just because.
That's fair. It's a tough one. Are you trading?
Because, I mean, that's really the issue is they should trade. I just don't know who would come up here.
For who? Well, that's the question.
It'd be for a quarterback here. You'd have to move up for a quarterback from the second, or I mean, get in front of Arizona for an edge rusher, I guess.
I mean,
are they Arizona going to go edge rusher though? When they go, you think they can go corner? Will Johnson sitting there?
Yeah,
they could go wherever they want. They could go wide receiver, and I would be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the most realistic thing would probably be quarterback here. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's Saints, Browns, Giants. I don't know. 2 of those teams are mine, and I still don't know what I want to do. Obviously, Saints aren't going to be the team. Just in division, not going to happen.
Yeah. I'm not coming up to this pick. I did that in my mock, so I want to do something different.
Yeah, we can do the Browns coming up.
Okay.
But that's you, Christian, if you want.
Yeah. I don't want to do it.
All right.
Pick.
Okay. I'll do the Giants come up.
Oh,
I ain't about to do this.
For which
I had 3 options, but
it's fair. So trade with yourself. This is going to be great podcasting right here.
Yep. So it'll be the Browns.
I can't even find the Giants. Why can I not even find the Giants?
Or the Giants. Sorry.
There they are. Okay.
So obviously it's 34.
That's a big drop, buddy. You're gonna have to give up.
I know.
Your value chart says that you need to pretty much give 450 points in value. And so, yeah, I'm using the 2025 version.
What is that, though? Is that 2/3 a second?
It would be future second and this year's third.
So do the future second, and then...
Or you could just send a future first and be a psycho.
No, I would say the future second, 99. And then probably like 219 or 154, whatever you think, Christian. Obviously, you got to check me on this. It's my own teams.
219 is probably good enough. That's a value of 3 on the trade value chart, but
because you're having to give the extra round kicker. They want the extra draft picks this year to not give up 65.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah. Good
do
trade.
it. All right. Now it was accepted. They didn't say it would be.
Oh wow! Yeah, you didn't force that, and it went through.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that.
See, everyone, you don't have to force things.
All right, what quarterback you taking?
Yeah, so I traded up for a tight end. Obviously, Riley Leonard. No, I mean, this is such a struggle because I truly don't know which quarterback.
Typical Giants, straight up for a quarter. They don't know who they're going to draft. Right here. This is like
take it all the way to the wire.
Peak cinema.
Yes, we're using 20 minutes of the clock. I'm not 100% sold on which quarterback they're going to like the most, but I'm just going to go Shador because it's makes more sense.
Okay.
But I would not be shocked if they, at the end of this, got out with Milrow or Dart and liking that style, like in between styles more.
On its
Mhm.
face, Shador Abdul Carter is not a terrible first 15 picks for the first two, like for their first two picks in the 15, overall. Like, I think that's fine. And then and Russell being there helps, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Like, I think that's
Yeah,
fine.
he's
And
not
then
going to play.
that gives them if they don't give up a future first, they could sit there and look at Mara and be like, hey, look, we're building for the future. We have Abdul now. Russ is going to be our bridge. We can win 9 games. And then Shador is going to be the guy, right? Like, I think that maybe is something that they could play in their scenario there. I think it just depends on what the price is going to be if teams really want to come up and if they start like really kind of bidding each other out.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously they'd love to wait till 20 or 24, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah. All right. Arizona on the clock. Anybody want to move up for this pick? Take Jackson Dart?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I figured I would try here.
Shucks.
So Arizona really could go anywhere. They do need a wide receiver. They really kind of need. They could go corner. They could go edge. They could go Nolan. To be honest with you, like they could really.
They could also go linebacker.
Jihad Campbell. Yeah,
So
they could.
Yeah, they invested in edge pretty heavily in the offseason. That's my only concern with that. But
however, let me pick my pick. Thank you. We're going on the board here. I'm taking Emeka Egbuka. So I'm gonna be a little weird, and I haven't seen this mocked a lot.
I know that it's just funnier.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I'm gonna take Emeka. I think Emeka with Marvin Harrison Jr. there, with Kyler. I think they're very good complements for each other. Obviously, they play together, but I just think that they fit well together in terms of what that offense would look like. They need another weapon in that offense. I know that they have holes to fill. I know they need to fill the corners, the GL, everything there, but I'm going to take Emeka. I think it'd be a fun spot for them from a team building perspective. Him, Harrison, and McBride is a legitimate offense. You get James Conner's freaking carcass back there for another year, and then you have Trey Benson, whatever Trey Benson is. I mean, that offensive line is fine. It's not amazing, but that's a serviceable offense as long as Kyler Murray can figure it out. And if Kyler Murray's not the guy after this year, they're going to move on anyway, I have a feeling. And so now they can have these weapons in place for whoever that next guy is going to be.
Well, they'll just draft Kyle McCord now that they have Ibuka and Harrison, and then they'll just
run it back, baby.
Yeah,
run it back. They don't have to play Michigan, so they'll win.
That's true.
Anytime they play the Lions, it'll just shake their core.
Yeah, that's true. That's an interesting pick. I think the wide receivers might come off the board a little faster than I had thought before. I've seen some buzz because there is a drop off in this wide receiver class. So I think we could see Ibuka, Golden. I think maybe Burden slides into the end of round 1 now.
He's not dead.
Higgins, we've seen a few others as well, but I think there's a good chance there's enough that go in the top 50, 55 that there's going to be like nothing to take in the third round and further.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on the clock. I think this is down to 2 players. For me, I think it's Walter Nolan or it's Mike Green. I think those are the 2 players that have been linked with the Bengals quite a bit. The Nolan stuff is maybe not as buzzy right now, but there are some rumors that they're comfortable with both Nolan and James Pierce's off-field stuff. And I think they need an edge rusher really bad, but I'm going to go Walter Nolan. I think while I view Mike Green as a top 10 player in this class, I view Walter Nolan as a top 5 player in this class, and he's a different animal. And there's been enough buzz that Nolan is rising up boards that I feel comfortable taking him at 17. And they're getting the pass rush. A lot of people say that Walter Nolan doesn't have pass rush. Man, I just, there's a lot of tools there that will translate to good pass rush. So I think this is kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, for lack of a better analogy there. So,
way to really flesh out that answer.
So Walter Nolan, final answer.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
feel great about it.
Yeah. I mean, if he turns it on, he could be one of the best players in his class if he hits his potential. And the Bengals would get somebody that is a stalwart on their defensive front.
Yeah. All right.
Just hate this.
Seahawks. Tough. This is a tough spot for Seahawks.
It's me.
Yes. Tough spot. Seahawks are a tough team.
Yeah, what are the edges all available? I'm trying
Edges.
to think what they would go overall.
We got Mike Green, Donovan, James Pierce, Scorton, Samir Stewart, and then Landon Jackson. Let me see if there's anybody down here that we'd like more.
No.
No.
I mean, they like some of the tweeners. I like the big guys too. But I mean, like Mafe looked good 2 years ago, took a step back. Like edge is definitely a need for them. At least another shot at the board. Obviously interior offensive line, but I could definitely see, I mean, this regime doesn't tend to value them this early. So that could just be they have so many picks on day 2. It could be the focus of their
Safety.
I'll go. Yeah, that was my other question. I mean, corner and safety would be the other question. I do think Campbell would make enough sense as well, just because he does give you the edge, but they also could use a little bit more speed at linebacker and kind of give you 2 birds, 1 stone. It would completely.
Wow. Use my analogy, eh?
I know. That's why I did it. It really cut the heart out of the Bucks' necks, unfortunately. But, yeah, I'm going to. I guess I would say I'll go Mike Green. I'll go Mike Green simply. I think obviously he would be a big upgrade to their edge room, and I just think he's heavy-handed enough that they're going to like him. And I think he gives you the right attitude on the field, and if they're good with everything off the field, it'll be a fit. It just seems more of it's Schneider. I think it's more of a Schneider pick than Zabel or Booker.
Okay. Interesting. Kevin, you're on the clock.
Yeah, not for very long. I'll take Jared Campbell for Tampa Bay. Lock him in. I think we're going to be talking about, man, Campbell's such a stud for Buccaneers for years to come. He's just a Buccaneer, man. I don't know what else to say to you all. Like that just is a pick for them. I think it fits a lot of needs from the edge and linebacking. Kills 2 birds with 1 stone. And like,
Let's go.
I think
I'm so happy now.
I think he does a great job with that. Like, so I think Campbell's the pick there. I think that he'd be phenomenal there.
Well, you said you weren't on the clock for long, but guess what? You are.
You're on the clock again, buddy.
I got the Dolphins in the trade back. And honestly, you know what? I'm comfortable with where they're at. We could guard tackle. I know that we've been mocking them.
Do it. We have to do it. It's the last one.
It's the last one. I know. But I'm taking Will Johnson. So I think Will Johnson in the secondary, depending on what's going on with Jalen Ramsey and everything there in that back end. Dolphins are a terribly built team, but I do think Will Johnson gives them that piece in that secondary moving forward with whatever they're going to do with that rebuild that's probably coming or middling rebuild or whatever's going on there. I think Will Johnson's a great piece. And if you would have told them they could get Will Johnson at 23 months ago, they probably been like, you're crazy just based on where Will Johnson projection was going to go. He's still a great player. He's instinctive. He can still make plays on defense. I like Will Johnson. I think 20 is a great fit for him. And I think he'd fit in this Dolphins team.
I like that.
Yep, I do. I don't think he could have went wrong there if you would have went Banks or Simmons or Will Johnson. I think all were a good pick, and obviously the Dolphins get a ton of value here. Steelers, I would venture that the only quarterback left that they would truly like is Milroe. I don't think they're going to take him here. So that would put it to, Amari and Hampton, I think, is up there. And then I would say D-tackle would be the next. Obviously D-tackle's not on their board here, but I think it is.
It is. It should be.
At this point, I would say the chalk is probably closer to Derek Hardman, if I'm not wrong. And that's kind of what I want to do.
Okay. What about you hate Kenneth Grant, like we talked about last week?
We talked about a lot between me and Christian. Kenneth Grant, to me, he's definitely more of a one gap, and I think he's going to, at least the start of the NFL career, be more 3-tech into nose, and they kind of have already drafted that. And Benton, I don't think he gives you an upgrade in pass rush there over Benton either. At least as of right now, I think he's got a higher upside in that. And then obviously Cam Ward's still there. Hayward, I should say, sorry. Draft on the mind. Mm-hmm. But I think Harmon can be a rotational penetrator at the other D-tackle position. And I think he just fits what they like to do. I think it would be a whole fit overall. I do think they're going to be some movement for either running back or quarterback. Obviously, they don't have a second-round pick. Seems like they're possibly looking to trade away one Devy receiver. So maybe they get another late day 2 capital or day 3 and package one of those picks up and maybe a future to come up. So right here, you get your defender that you desperately need, in my opinion.
All right, Chargers on the clock, Christian. Fans are clamoring for a offensive weapon. Are you going to give it to them?
You're the pick here, buddy.
No, you are.
No, you are.
You are.
Okay, we should use names. Kevin, you're up. I just picked.
Kevin, you're up.
I just realized
Am
how
I up?
bad I was.
Yeah,
Throw down
yeah.
spell.
I traded.
Shit, I'm gonna piss off Chargers fans. Then I thought you were gonna piss off Chargers fans there. I'm taking Kenneth Grant, boys. Like this is the pick for me. I think pairing him back with Harbaugh. I think they need that interior defensive line. I think it just makes too much sense, and I think Kenneth Grant is getting slept on by these two. So I'll take him there at 22.
I think it's a perfect literal flip argument from the Steelers where they don't really have a guy like Kenneth Grant for the Chargers that's been any kind of effective. Not that Benton for the Steelers has been, godsend by any means, but at least he gives you something you don't really have. And he, as of right, my issue with him is just I think he's a 2-down player consistently right now. He's shown the 3rd-down flashes, but again, we got to see more. But at least here, he has the upside to do it.
Yeah. Now I'm on the clock. I think it's between 2 players here.
Green Bay is on the clock. Down. So just so everybody out there listening on the podcast, Green Bay.
Yeah.
Christian's picking for Green Bay here.
Yeah. So I think it's between Maxwell Hairston and...
You're going corner, right?
So I've felt that way for a while, but I also don't know if they can pass up Shamar Stewart with how they draft. Like, they just... that anytime they have an elite edge rusher, at least an elite athleticism edge rusher is how I should frame that. He's not an elite edge rusher. They struggle to not take them, but there's also, they've never taken a wide receiver in the first round under Brian Gutekunst, and
they won't now.
This seems like a fine draft to do it with Matthew Golden sitting right here. However, I think I'm just going to go chalk and go with Hairston at corner. I think that's an overdraft, but I also think they're going to flip Jair Alexander pretty quickly in day 2. So
Hairston, Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, on the board. It's locked in.
I do love that you're double checking everything before you click.
I learned, buddy. It's been a few drafts here. I am not resetting this bad boy. There is no way I'm knowing 23 picks in a row. So just going off there. All right, I don't know who the hell is on the clock. Minnesota, 24.
Me.
Go, Randy. Who you got?
It's a rule of 3. Just going to keep counting up by it. All right. So, I mean, obviously the Vikings are looking to trade out guys. That's up to any of you guys or...
So, this is a good spot for the Browns to come up if they want a quarterback. Jackson Dart's there. I also, for what it's worth, I don't know if the in-division trade would happen, but it's happened before. I think the Bears could come up and try to get in front of the Texans and the Rams to get an offensive tackle here.
The Vikings have done it.
They have.
They trade with the Lions multiple times.
I know, but that's up to Kevin. I guess if you want to do that, I'm willing to wait on a trade up with the Browns, but also... I don't think Randy should pick here. I think if the Vikings don't trade up.
Pick here, but I might trade up with the Saints as well if no one.
Okay. What do you want to do, Kevin?
Well, I know who I'm picking with the Texans at 25, and it's not going to be a tackle. So I don't really care.
What about, I
think it makes more sense for a QB team to go to this spot.
Or, Kevin, you have the Lions. Is there anything you would? They're an aggressive team. Eagles have been aggressive. That would be Christian.
That's me.
Chiefs are rumored to trade up if we don't want to do the quarterback bait right now and keep it in the first round. The Vikings are going to be taking the whole clock to get off the clock, even though there's multiple people that are a good fit for them.
Well, right now it says Kansas City's interested in this.
Can I throw a curveball here?
Sure.
I did it in my mock at this pick too. Jacksonville coming up to get Matthew Golden, which would screw Kevin, I know. Because I know that's who you want to take with the Texans. And that's why to take Genty and come up for Golden though. I didn't give them Genty in my first one. So it's almost like
crazy. Is there any, we got to keep moving. So is there anything from the first round guys that want to, if not, it's got to be one of the quarterback teams.
All right. Browns are coming up for Jackson Dart right here. Let's do it.
Okay.
So I will give you, I'm not looking at the trade chart. I'm going to do it by memory. 33, I will give you 104. And I will give
it'd be 94.
All right. And I'll give you future 5.
Nah, just another pick this year.
Okay.
It's what they want.
216.
Yeah, it's fine.
Deal? Make sure you
because that gives them they move back slightly. It's basically a first round pick still for them. And now they have 2 third-round picks when they just need capital.
Yeah.
Jalen
Jackson Dart.
Oh, okay.
There's rumors, man, that really like
he'll be.
Milrow.
He's going to be at the draft. So
Dart won't be. He decided against it.
All right. So Cleveland gets their quarterback and their wide receiver and Hunter.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart.
That's a good personality-wise. The more we actually get to hear from Hunter, he's a fit in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Like he fits with Garrett. He fits the whole vibe of every best player the Browns have ever had.
Hunter is going to be like the most liked player once he leaves Sanders' realm. Once he's out of that realm,
dude they trade up and Shadur's the quarterback for the Browns, and
that dude just loves football. Hunter just loves football. Once he gets rid of that girlfriend of his, he's going to be amazing. Once that happens. All right, Texans at 25. I'm taking Luther Burden, boys. I'm doing it. So going over Golden. I think he fits that offense well. I think that him and Nico Collins being there, he's a perfect slot player for them. The funniest argument I hear is look at all the scheme touches Burden got. No shit, he got scheme touches. Who else is getting the ball in Missouri? Why are we using an argument for we want to get our best player the ball against the guy? Yes. He does have some diva tendencies, and I know that, but I do think that he's going to translate that over to the NFL to where he wants to be there. He's in the NFL now. He's the type of level of talent that's going to be there. And there was a time where we were talking about Burden being wide receiver 1. It would not shock me to see Burden being one of the best players and wide receivers in this class. And I think him and Stroud that'd be a phenomenal pairing there. And to me, when you look at the offensive line that's on the board, they could go offensive line, but in their weird mind, I think they feel like they're kind of set at offensive line, and maybe they look at that and they need another weapon. They need a guy. I know they just traded for Kirk. I get it. I know what they have there, but Luther Burden can give them that extra. And I think Luther Burden he's getting hated on by a lot of different people, and Burden's a better prospect than Matthew Golden. He is. He's a better prospect than Matthew Golden. I don't care what anybody says. So I'm taking Luther Burden here. Damn, I don't care.
For what it's worth, I have the two of those two players tied exact same grade. So I think you're wrong. Actually, I think they're the same level of prospect. No, I get it. Okay. I'm the Rams here at 26, and I think I have to take Kelvin Banks. I just think Banks fits what they want to do. I know they like to run the ball, but with Matthew Stafford there, Banks wouldn't have to play right away. They're set at guard and interior offensive line, in my opinion. I think they need a tackle of the future, and I think there's a chance that Banks will come in and start immediately at left tackle for them. So probably right tackle actually this year, but because who'd they tag? Who's their left tackle? I can't remember his name right now.
Is that Haverstein?
No, it's the other guy that I should know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know why we don't know that.
They tagged
Jackson. Is that what you're talking about?
Jackson, yeah. So he'd probably play right tackle for this year, and then maybe if they can't get a deal done with Jackson, he'd move back over to left tackle. So I think this is a good pick here. Kelvin Banks, welcome to Los Angeles, buddy.
Yeah, they were without first-round picks for 8 years, and when they finally got it back, they fixed the major holes they had, which is the trenches. I think they do the same thing this year in the first round. They're picking a trench player, whether that's like an edge rusher that could also be linebacker if it falls, like Campbell, or I just think it's offensive lineman. And I getting a guy that's a little bit more versatile like Bangs. I do think Simmons is probably a better fit simply because he's shown the guard tackle flexibility, but they might not like him. But I definitely think they would like Bangs. So, all right. I'm back on the clock. Ravens. I'm not going to wimp out and trade out again. I will stick and pick, even if I don't want to. He automatically goes to trade, which is so funny. It's so funny. So, I mean, this is one I hate because, like, the edge rushers are still there that I like. DBs are there I still like. But they're going offensive line, aren't they? Like,
if Tyler Booker's there, I don't see how.
And Zabel, that's the issue.
But Booker's such a power scheme player that it just fits so well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking Tyler Booker here. I personally, obviously, don't like him. I honestly think the 48 ranking is probably more close to what I have. But I think Zabel would be a fun fit, but Booker at least fits a power scheme. They're trying to run down your throat. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I have him at 39 on my board, so
I think I'm a little bit lower than you. So
yeah,
I like the pick because I like Tyler Booker, so I don't mind him at the back end. He's a Raven, and then we're going to be talking about Tyler Booker is a Hall of Famer in 12 years because he was with the Ravens, and he'll get the parade and all of that. No, I think that's a fine pick for the Ravens. Like they always get guys like that. I'm on the clock with the Lions. All across the board, a lot of different areas they can go. But I'm going to take Donovan Ezeraku, from Boston College, the edge. I think fitting him in there on that defense. I know that he's been really kind of mocked there a lot of the times, like opposite Aiden Hutchinson. He can go there. I think, Donovan can win with power, speed off the edge. He can really do a lot of those things. And he's a grit fit, right? That's what they keep calling him, grit fit. Like he's going to fit there in that culture. I think he'd do a great job there. And to me, like he can really kind of set the tone on that defensive line, give him some depth. He just feels like a great value pick for the Lions sitting there at 28 if he falls down that low.
All right. I like it. When I've mocked this, a lot of Lions fans are like, well, he won't be able to set the edge in this scheme. And it's like, I don't know if you've watched him. I feel like he can't. He's not a big player, but he's long. He's physical. Like he's a strong player. I think he's going to be just fine if he goes there. And like you said, grit fit.
His toughness and like that motor will definitely help him. Like even in some of his physical maybe limitations or whatever you want to call it, like that motor is going to really fit with that team.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Washington right here. At 29. Does anyone want to come up for anything?
I don't think we can with who we technically are. I would like to point out the Bears coming up for Hampton makes sense.
It does. That's Kevin. So Bears coming up for Hampton makes sense. I think my Jags trade now makes a little more sense because you won't have to give as much up and you get Genty and Matthew Golden. I don't know if that's how you build a team, but I don't know if Jacksonville knows how to build a team.
Yeah, I'm okay with the Bears.
You want to come up? Because what I would say is I would take Hampton here, but I'm willing to move back. And if I'm Washington and I go back to 41 and I take Judkins instead, or I get one of these safeties that's falling, I'm okay with that. So what's your offer?
You're the Bears, Kevin.
I know. Kevin. I'm thinking. Why can't a man think on his own?
I don't know.
I need 39.
Yeah, you said 41, right? Yeah, I heard.
That's
41.
what I heard.
So I heard 41.
No, 39, please.
Okay, fine. 39. I mean, I don't know. 39. It's only 10 spots back, right? Or how many picks is that?
I mean, you could probably get away with
like what? 148.
148, future 5. Probably.
That's fine.
And maybe even 2027 5. since the Commanders are low on picks. I don't care. It doesn't matter. We're not
doing.
I didn't mean to offer it. Oh, it's accepted. Look
I
at
don't
that.
know what's happening.
I don't
Perfect.
either.
Look at that, baby.
Literally never seen that happen.
All right. So Bears are on the clock at 29. They move up. And I think it makes sense because Travion goes off the board, right? So, like, they're sitting there, like, if they look at that tier and say, hey, we want to get in that tier there. And then they take Amari and Hampton at 29.
I would be so happy as a Bears fan. This would be great.
Bears add Tyler Warren and Marion Hampton to that offense around Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams owners just excited because they got Rome. They'll have DJ Moore, Warren, Hampton. That's a great haul for them.
Cole Kmet.
And just get a D lineman at 41 and you're pretty set.
Yeah.
All right. So it would be.
You're the Bills.
It's me.
Randy.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Bills, I mean, kind of an embarrassment of riches for them. Obviously, biggest needs edge and corner. I don't see them really as a fit for James Pierce. They're a big character place. He's not going to go there. I think for them, can you pull up the edge rushers quick, Kevin? I mean, I know what safeties are there, so I don't really. I think they would probably like Scorton the most out of the edge rushers, just on how they like to build. And then corner.
Trey Amos.
Yeah, they're so desperate for we're going corner. They're so desperate for corner. Yeah, I think they'd like Revel, but Amos doesn't have the health concerns. You're going Amos here.
Okay,
I like that. There's a lot of wind blowing in that direction too, and I mock that.
How about the Bills though taking guys like Amos? Like I feel like the Bills have taken a corner like Amos every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
I mean. Yeah, I mean, in this one,
and I like Amos though.
Yeah,
you called me a hater when I had him at like 35 on my board back.
I liked him. I like him. I still like him. And if he goes back in, that's fine. I just, I get weirded out with some teams that draft these guys sometimes, and they miss on these guys all the time, and you're just like, oh, you're just going back down the road. But hey, whatever. I mean, look at how many guys go back to their exes. So we see it all the time.
Fair. All right, you're the Chiefs, Kevin.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah.
Chiefs on the clock.
Jesus.
It could go so many. We have a lot of talent on the board. This is going to be a fun draft, boys. I'm very excited.
That's the thing. Also,
Day 2 is going to be a ton of fun.
If 3 quarterbacks go, 3 running backs,
well, not for me.
The values are going.
While we're writing 75,000 pages of content. But
rookie guide coming soon, folks.
Christian will have less here. It'll be
so do you think for this, like for the Chiefs, because they could go edge, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think does Pierce fit that roster though? I don't know if Pierce.
No.
I mean they could go Josh Simmons though.
I mean Simmons able, I think fit. Safety is a need. All the safeties are there. And then a D tackle, but obviously they're huge. Maybe. I just don't know.
I was just thinking Tyleek, put him in there, but I don't know if he would.
I think at that point, between Tyleek and what they could get in the next round, I think it's a close enough comparison.
Yeah. But Josh
Stewart too is like an interesting edge rusher for them. Because he has the flexibility to kick in, maybe. But
they picked that, and he hasn't fully lived up. He's been close, but he hasn't fully lived up to it.
I'm gonna take Josh Simmons, boys. I'm gonna take Josh just based on value on the board, what he could turn into, right? And they're looking at that need of what they need on that offensive line, so I'll take Simmons for the Chiefs, and I think they'd be happy with that pick. I think they'd be there. And then you get to the Eagles, and they got all kinds of great shit on the board left. Like this is just the Eagles' way. Just sit there and wait. So where are we going with the Eagles?
Boy, I just don't know. Because I think there's
everything is
best
there.
Player available on PFF for everybody out there listening. Malachi Starks, safety, James Pierce Jr., Matthew Golden, Gray Zabel, Nick Scorton, Josh Cornley Jr., Shamar Stewart, Benjamin Morrison, Kevin Winston Jr., so on. So those are kind of the best players on PFF board.
Shout out to PFF for bumping Kevin Winston Jr. up, though. That's correct. I have him as a top 20 player. I'm the crazy one, though, for sure. So I think Malachi Starks is a free safety. I think he's going to play in coverage. I think he's going to play slot corner. The Eagles have a slot corner in Cooper DeJean. That's where he played his best snaps last year. I think that's where he stays. They have Reed Blankenship at free safety. And so if I go safety, I would go Nick Emanwari. I don't really like doing that. I don't like not having a safety in the first round, but like we just talked about, 3 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, this could happen. Matthew Golden makes some sense. Mason Taylor's been getting some first round buzz. I'm not going in that direction. I've been giving them an offensive lineman here and there, but I think with what they lost this year and where their needs are, I think I'm going to go Shamar Stewart, and he would have the ability to grow with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith on that defensive line. And
he's both A&M edge rushers, they are a different body types than what they have in the edge room too right now. So it does make a ton of sense. You literally couldn't go wrong there.
I know.
I mean, one of the best receivers is on the board. Most of the corners are there. A good amount of edge rushers that could go in the first are there. We know they don't care about character concerns from the SEC, so Pierce was an obvious fit. And then Grace Abel and Donovan Jackson would be slam dunk picks for them as well. They're not necessarily body type 1-for-1 replacing Becton, and obviously Jurgens kicking inside. But yeah.
I'm sorry,
I was trying
PFF.
I was trying to talk for the grade. I was trying to vamp, and it just said no. I don't.
We did a mock draft so bad.
PFF. PFF cannot analyze our draft right now. I don't know what is happening, but I clicked the button and it's tell me to stay in my seat. But shit, this thing is. By the time this thing runs all its course, the first round's gonna be over tomorrow night. Like that's kind of how it's going right now.
Maybe just hit full results and see. If
I try. Okay, I even pressed awards and nothing popped up. Like
we broke it.
Well, the draft guide's live for that. That's all the website cares.
Do you want to try to go through this from memory?
No.
Cam Ward.
Just bend it. Just said no.
All right. Well, it went Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, Ashton Genty to the Jaguars. Vegas took
Johnny.
Yep. Barron. The Jets took Mason Graham.
Yeah.
Carolina took Jalen Walker. New Orleans took Michael.
Yep.
Michael Williams. This is great podcast. And we're just testing our memory skills here. 10, Chicago took Tyler Warren. 11, San Francisco took Armin Membu. Randy took Ted McMillan to the Cowboys.
We traded back 2013. You took Travion Henderson to the Broncos.
Heck yeah, teamwork here. All right, take it away. What happened next?
Loveland went at 14. Colson Loveland went at 14 to the Colts. 15, Falcons took.
Giants traded up.
Traded up. So the Giants took Shador Sanders. Cardinals, I took Emeka Buka. 17, the Bengals took Walter Nolan.
Yep.
Randy took an edge. Who did he take at Seahawks?
Mike Green.
That's right. Okay, so Mike Green, I took Jahad Campbell with the Buccaneers. At 20, I took Will Johnson from Miami. 21, Derek Harmon from Oregon to the Steelers. 22, I took Kenneth Grant to the Chargers. 23, the Packers took
Maxwell Hairston.
That's right. It was such a terrible pick. I forgot. 24, just kidding. 24, Vikings traded out. Then that's where the Browns came in to draft Jackson Dart. At 25, the Texans took Luther Burden. At 26, the Rams took Kelvin Banks. 27, the Ravens took Tyler Booker. 28, the Lions took Donovan Azuruko. 29, Commanders traded to the Bears. The Bears took Omarion Hampton. The Bills grabbed Trey Amos. The Chiefs grabbed Josh Simmons. And then the Eagles drafted. That's what broke the mock. So which one did you break? Oh, Shamar Stewart. That's the edge there. So that was our picks there. Christian, if you had to pick one player, though, that falls out, we always have one of those guys that just drops out of nowhere. If you can't use Shador either, you're not picking Shador. So without Shador being there, who could be that one player that's sitting there for a while that you're shy? Is it Kenneth Grant falling outside the top 10 possibly? Or not Kenneth Grant, sorry. Mason Graham.
Maybe, but I also just don't think he gets past San Francisco in that case. So I think he's gone by 11. I mean, the drop would be one of these edge rushers that has injury concerns, I think. So Michael, I wonder if everything is checked out. Jahai Campbell might be another one that drops out because teams aren't comfortable with the injury. Colston Loveland's got a little bit of buzz that there's some injury stuff. So one of those three, I think. The other one is like Shamar Stewart dropped in our mock, but he dropped to a spot where like that what he put on film this last year, it warrants a back end of the first type of pick instead of a top 10 to 15 selection. So those would be my picks.
All right, Randy, who's going earlier than everybody expects? Jalen Walker at 4?
No, I don't think he goes all the way up there. Man, that's actually really tough, only because there's just so many randoms in this class that could go anywhere. So I guess I'll just say Nick Emanwari. I think he has a chance to go all the way up. I mean, 13. Honestly, I mean, there's the Colts could even still do it. I wouldn't be shocked if I don't know if he really fits what the 49ers would want, but there's a fairness there if they did. I mean, it's not like the Raiders safeties are that great anymore. I mean, they got one right now, really. Like you could do a lot, and obviously there's multiple teams that I could see trade up for that caliber of athlete. So I do think he could go higher. We've heard rumors that the Bills and Chiefs are going to be aggressive as well, trying to get up. I think he fits both of those teams. So,
all right. Interesting. All right. This is it, boys. Anything final else before next week we do reactions, talk about some picks, and have some fun?
No, I'm working on my 2026 mock draft though. So draft hasn't happened yet, obviously. If you're watching this after the draft happened, ignore what we did. Just don't listen anymore. Actually, well, download the podcast, but don't listen. We will have the rookie guide coming next week, but then later that week, I will have a 2026 mock draft out. I've got like 10 to 15 grades on guys already, summer grades. So I'm hoping to get that up to like 40 or 50 and then do a nice little projection for the 2026 NFL draft, which I'm excited for. I'm sick of watching the bad players in this class because I watched all the good players early, and it's just been like watching Peter Woods from Clemson, defensive tackle. It's been a joy. I really loved it.
All right. Well, appreciate you guys tuning in all throughout this pre-draft process. We're excited to see kind of where the teams mess up this week as we talk about it, where they get right. We'll talk about when we come back. Obviously, we'll get into more of the 4-quarter stuff, talking about kind of picks we like, we didn't like, some odd, and we're finally here, and we get to talk about it. But yeah, we are degenerate enough that we're going to have 2026 content up immediately over on our Substack, so go check that out. And if you want to dive into fantasy, we are, in my opinion, and take it for what it's worth. I think this guide is one of the better ones out there, just because we're going to have some actual content. It's not just players and rankings, which I know everybody wants, but we're going to have some articles plugged in there. We're going to have some different things I don't think anybody else is doing. So go check that out. You can buy it standalone, or you can, join our community. Go over to our Substack. You go over our Discord, our Patreon, do those things and find us there. I think it's worth it. It's worth $5. And if you don't think it's worth $5, I'll give you the $5 back. No, I won't. But I'm not giving the $5 back, but I'll give you $250 back.
Immediately regret it.
That's how it works.
Immediately.
$250, and you have to tell me why. You got to give it in writing why you don't think it's worth $5.
Back to the teacher days.
You got to give me a thesis on why you think it's shit. All right, we appreciate you guys. We'll get you guys next week.